Hi guys, welcome to Genius Stories. Today we bring you The Gentleman of the Jungle, a powerful story filled with wisdom, power struggles, and a deep moral lesson. Stay with us till the end to uncover the hidden message behind this classic fable. Let's dive in. To begin with, let's take a moment to understand the writer behind The Gentleman of the Jungle. Jomo Kenyatta, 1893 to 1978, was not just a storyteller but also a significant figure in African history. He was an influential political leader and served as the first president of Kenya from 1964 to 1978. Belonging to the Kikuyu community, one of the largest ethnic groups in Kenya, Kenyatta played a vital role in the country's fight for independence. His work as a nationalist leader and his advocacy for land reform and African political rights made him a key voice against colonial oppression. In 1928, he became the secretary of a tribal association, further strengthening his leadership role. Before we dive into The Gentleman of the Jungle, let's understand the historical background that inspired this story. In the late 19th century, powerful European countries divided Africa among themselves. Since they had superior weapons and tactics, they easily took control over African lands. The African chiefs, who were unaware of the hidden meanings in the treaties they were forced to sign, unknowingly gave up their lands. As a result, Africans lost the territories they had traditionally lived on and cultivated for generations. This story is actually an allegory, a symbolic tale that represents the Kikuyu people's reaction to European rule. It highlights how European laws and commissions were used as tools to justify their expansion while taking away the rights of native Africans. Now coming to the story, let's see how Jomo Kenyatta cleverly illustrates this historical injustice through his fable. Once upon a time, an elephant and a man became friends. One day, a heavy thunderstorm struck, and the elephant, seeking shelter, approached his friend, the man. The elephant humbly requested, "My dear good man, may I put my trunk inside your hut to protect it from the rain?" The man, being kind and considerate, agreed. He told the elephant that his hut was small but allowed the elephant to gently place his trunk inside. The elephant expressed gratitude, promising to return the kindness someday. However, what happened next was unexpected. As soon as the elephant put his trunk inside, he slowly pushed his head in, then his entire body, eventually throwing the man out of his own hut. The elephant then comfortably settled inside and justified his actions by saying, "Your skin is tougher than mine, so you can withstand the rain better than I can." The man, feeling betrayed, began grumbling about the injustice. Hearing the commotion, other animals from the jungle gathered around to see what had happened. They listened as the man argued with the elephant over the unfair takeover of his hut. Amidst the heated argument, the lion, who was the king of the jungle, arrived roaring. He demanded order, asking, "Who dares to disturb the peace of my kingdom?" The elephant, who was a high-ranking minister in the jungle, tried to calm the situation. He assured the lion, saying, "My lord, there is no disturbance in your kingdom. I am simply discussing the ownership of this little hut with my friend." After the argument between the man and the elephant, the lion, as the king of the jungle, wanted to maintain peace and order in his kingdom. In a noble and authoritative voice, he declared, "I will appoint a commission of inquiry to investigate this matter and provide a fair judgment." Then, turning to the man, the lion praised him for making friends with the jungle animals, particularly with the elephant, who was an honorable minister in the jungle government. He assured the man, saying, "Do not worry. Your hut is not lost. Just wait for the commission's decision, and you will get a fair chance to present your case." Hearing this, the man felt hopeful. He believed that justice would be served and his hut would be returned to him. However, what happened next was completely unfair. The elephant and his fellow ministers selected the members of the commission, and every single one of them was an animal from the jungle. 1. Mr. Rhinoceros 2, Mr. Buffalo 3, Mr. Alligator 4, the Right Honorable Mr. Fox, Chairman 5, Mr. Leopard, Secretary. The man protested, asking if someone from his side could also be included in the commission. But he was denied this request. The jungle animals claimed that no one from the man's side was educated enough to understand the complex laws of the jungle. They also assured him that the commission members were known for their fairness and impartiality. Since they were creatures chosen by God to look after those who were weaker, like the man, he was told to trust their judgment. The commission listened attentively as Mr. Elephant confidently defended himself. He portrayed himself as a selfless protector, insisting that he had only entered the hut to save it from destruction. The other animals in the commission nodded in agreement, as if they already believed Mr. Elephant's version of the story. The man, feeling frustrated, tried to protest, saying that he had never invited the elephant to take over his hut. He had only allowed him to put his trunk inside. However, before he could fully explain his side, Mr. Rhinoceros interrupted. He cleared his throat and said, "This is a most unfortunate misunderstanding. But as we all know, Mr. Elephant is an honorable creature, and his actions were purely in the best interest of his friend." Mr. Buffalo then added, "It is a well-known fact that smaller creatures struggle to manage their resources efficiently. Wouldn't it be wiser to allow someone larger and stronger to make better use of the hut?" The man was shocked. It was becoming clear that the commission was biased. Instead of delivering justice, they were supporting their own kind. Finally, Mr. Fox, acting as the chairman, stood up and declared. After hearing Mr. Elephant's statement, the commission called Mr. Hyena and other jungle elders, who fully supported Mr. Elephant's version of events. When the man was given a chance to explain his side of the story, he barely got a few words in before the commission interrupted him. "My good man," they said, "please stick to the relevant points. We have already received statements from trusted, unbiased sources. All we need to know is, was the empty space in your hut occupied before Mr. Elephant took his place?" The man tried to explain, beginning, "No, but," before he was cut off again. The commission then declared their verdict, claiming that they had heard enough evidence from both sides. However, instead of giving the man justice, they enjoyed a feast at Mr. Elephant's expense before making their decision. Their final ruling was shocking. "This is all a simple misunderstanding," they said. "It is clear that Mr. Elephant was only fulfilling his duty of protecting your interests. You are not yet capable of making proper use of the hut's space, so it is best that Mr. Elephant continues occupying it. However, we are fair and just. We give you permission to build a new hut somewhere else, and we promise to ensure your safety." The man was helpless. He had no choice but to accept, fearing that if he protested, he might be attacked by the powerful members of the commission. So, with no alternative, he set out to build another hut. But just as he finished constructing his new home, Mr. Rhinoceros suddenly appeared, charging toward the hut with his sharp horn lowered. After Mr. Rhinoceros took over the man's second hut, a royal commission was appointed again to investigate. As expected, the ruling was the same as before. The man was told to leave and build another hut. This pattern repeated until all the powerful jungle animals, Mr. Buffalo, Mr. Leopard, Mr. Hyena, and others, had taken over the man's huts, leaving him with nothing. At this point, the man realized that relying on these so-called fair commissions was useless. He understood that he needed a better plan to protect himself from these cunning animals. Quoting an old proverb, he said, "There is nothing that treads on the earth that cannot be trapped." This means that no matter how powerful or clever someone thinks they will eventually be caught in their own tricks. The Grand Revenge. One morning, after all the huts occupied by the animals had started to decay, the man built a new, stronger hut at a distance. However, as soon as Mr. Rhinoceros saw it, he rushed inside, only to find that Mr. Elephant was already there, sleeping peacefully. Then, one by one, the other animals barged in. Mr. Leopard climbed in through the window. Mr. Lion, Mr. Fox, and Mr. Buffalo entered through the doors. Mr. Hyena howled for a shady spot. Mr. Alligator even climbed onto the roof. With so many animals inside, they all started fighting over their rights to the space. The argument soon turned into chaos, with all of them attacking each other. Seizing the perfect opportunity, the man set fire to the hut, burning it down along with all the greedy jungle animals inside. He then walked away peacefully, having finally freed himself from their exploitation. Before leaving, he wisely said, "Peace is costly, but it's worth the expense." Morale of the story. This tale is an allegory, symbolic story, about colonialism and oppression. The man represents oppressed people, while the animals symbolize powerful invaders who take advantage of the weak. In the story, the elephant and the other animals represent colonial powers, countries that invaded and took over weaker lands, while the man represents the native people who originally owned the land. This connects to the real-world concepts of colonialism and oppression. What is colonialism? Colonialism is when a powerful country takes control over a weaker country or land, often by force. The colonizers settle in the land, exploit its resources, and impose their own rules, culture, and government. For example, European powers colonized Africa, taking away land from native people and exploiting them for labor. This is just like how the elephant first asked for a small favor, putting its trunk inside the hut, but slowly took over completely, forcing the man out of his own home. What is oppression? Oppression happens when one group of people uses power to control and exploit another group unfairly. This can include forcing people to leave their land, like in the story, making unfair rules that benefit the powerful, denying basic rights like freedom, education, and fair treatment. In the story, the Commission of Inquiry, Jungle Court, was fake. It only favored the powerful animals, just like real-world colonial governments that made unfair laws to keep control over the native people. The connection between the story and history. The way the elephant took over the hut mirrors, how colonial powers invaded and occupied foreign lands. The man's struggles represent the suffering of native people under colonial rule. The final act, burning the hut and escaping, symbolizes a revolution where the oppressed finally take back their power. Conclusion. The story teaches that colonialism is not just about taking land. It's about taking control, making unfair rules, and oppressing the original people. However, it also shows that no matter how strong the oppressors seem, they will eventually destroy themselves through their own greed, just like how the animals fought and burned in the fire. And that's how our story comes to an end. A journey through the jungle filled with wisdom, justice, and unexpected lessons. If this tale made you think or brought a smile to your face, don't forget to share it with your friends. Did you understand the story? Let me know in the comments. And if there's another story you'd love to hear next, feel free to share your suggestions. If you enjoyed this, please like, subscribe, and share for more amazing stories.